Hi, this is Lorene, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay. So first, this is Love Lives Bleeding, which I have talked about in the past. It's a flower essence. This is the flower, but they create a flower essence from this flower that is really good for helping with Christ consciousness, which is if you're going through this phase of feeling the pain and sorrow for what's going on in the world, and kind of reconciling what you are able to do or influence and what you are unable to do or influence on the world. It often creates that realization, that understanding, those epiphanies, that awareness can be painful. And this flower essence helps with dealing with that. And flower essences, like stones or just channeling energy, works on shifting or balancing your energy. And so that's one that I would recommend if it resonates with you. The other thing is, excuse me, my throat is much better. Last night it was hurting quite a bit still, and for a while I've been drawn to amber, and I have a favorite stone shop that I go to, and he really hasn't had amber for 6 months, and I remember looking it up and I'm like, I really need that stone. But it just so happens that he had it the last time I went, and he had actually like 5 or 6 pieces, and this is the one that resonated with me the most. And I did a whole bunch of writing in my journal before I reviewed what it symbolized, because I didn't really remember, but I knew that it resonated strongly with me, and when he had some available I wanted to get some. So this is actually a healing stone, and there's different color ambers that do different things, but this actually has some fossilized insects in it. Amber is, I think they said, anywhere from 60 to 90 million years old, or 30 to 90 million years old. It's a resin, it's not sap. Anyway, it's a healing stone, and what I did is I put it over my third eye, because I was taking medicine, so it was really creating some cloudiness, and which is the reason why I only really have 2 days of writing in my journal this week. But as soon as I put this over my third eye, I just had a lot of clarity, so there's a lot of writing. But I did that last night, or the night before last, before I went to bed, and then last night I put it over my throat, because my throat was really sore. For like 30 minutes I just laid there, and I woke up this morning and I didn't have any pain in my throat. So I was like, wow, this is magical. But part of working with energy and stones is trusting and having faith that stone, that flower essence, that thing will work and heal you. And so I'm very committed, strong person of faith, and so I work with energy often, so I didn't doubt it, but I wasn't sure how quickly it would work. So anyway, I'm very happy about that. I also have green garnet, which is really rare, hard to find. This is from Russia, and this works on opening your heart chakra along with some other stuff, but I got that too. And it really resonated. I've been looking for red garnet for a really long time, and he had green garnet, and when I saw that and the color, very emerald, I just I don't know if you can, I just had to have it. I just had to have it. I knew I had to have this. and it's right next to my moldavite. So anyway, I'm going to get started. I just felt really strongly I should mention those things. If you're interested in the other flowers, this is rhododendron, or hydrangea, and leucadendron. Okay, so let's go back here. The messages were very intense this week, the ones that came in. The messages were really intense this week. They were definitely an extension from last week, and I'm just going to read. So, May 5th, 2023, Vision of Titans, or the 7 pillars. We all potentially have access to this wisdom, because all of existence comes from these first 7 titans, just as the first 7 titans came from divinity. So we all come from this source. We all come from Source, the creator of all things, which first split into these 7 pillars, these 7 energies, which I feel are very primordial in energy. So the Titans, the Greek Titans, were primordial earth energy, right? That's the only association. These 7 pillars are very primordial, universal energies, not just earth, the universe, primordial building blocks for the universe. And that's why I call them Titans. I am provided access to this primordial wisdom as it is needed at this time of transcendence. So we all potentially have access to this information, but I don't feel it's appropriate to say I'm different in any way from anybody else, other than how I perceive my reality, how I perceive the experiences in this life, and how I've processed that information, and how I've utilized that information to fortify or to first create the connection or reconnection with the divine, because we've all been significantly, profoundly separated from our own inner divinity. But my process and how I've come to this place of reconnecting or understanding my own inner divinity, my journey, my path and purpose, has brought me to this place where I have access to this information in this moment. That doesn't mean that I'm different from anybody else, other than how I have perceived my existence, my reality, my journey, my path and purpose on this world in this moment, which has provided me this access to this information. 5/7, May 7th, 11:25. 11:25. I'm not sure if that's AM or PM. In last week's video, the divine asks, why does this darkness reside within me? So in the last video, I discussed that I have, in my meditations and in my connecting to my own inner divinity, I have received this type of information, or these communications, or these questions that the divine asks itself, why does this darkness reside within me? Why does it exist? But that is not the only thing it wonders, this source energy. I have said in past videos, the divine has asked not only why does this darkness exist within me, but why do I find enjoyment or pleasure in these things? And why are they allowed to perpetuate? Just as we are on a journey of self-discovery, so is the divine. And so, the most, okay, so let me just keep reading. We're not going to delve deeply into the darkness right now, so I'm not going to go to the most extreme place of darkness, okay? The most extreme unbalanced energy. The most extreme place of imbalance. But think about drinking and partying, and why do people like to drink until they do things they regret, like they get sick, or they black out, or they say things that they'll regret, or behave in a way that is inappropriate or harmful to others, or harmful to themselves. What is the attraction to drug use, sex, gratuitous sex, pornography, gaming, dating, Botox, plastic surgery, gluttony, indulgence or overindulgence, sloth? Why? Why are we so attracted? Excuse me, my hair is tickling my face. Why are we so drawn to these things, to the excess? Okay? What is the commitment or addiction to these things? Because addiction isn't just drugs. We can be addicted to anything. People can be addicted to exercise, working out. People can be addicted to, I have an aunt whose father was drinking too much water to the point where they had to put him in a convalescent hospital to regulate and watch him to make sure he wasn't over drinking water. You know, then there's the obvious: alcohol, drugs, sex, pornography, spending money, right? Material things. Why? So why do we enjoy or find pleasure in that high of spending money, drugs, sex, pornography, working out excessively, even, you know, some people need to be validated so much that they study all the time just to get that A, or have the opportunity to do certain things to receive praise from people, right? There can be excess in anything, okay? Why do I continue when the lows are so low? And so you have the high of the validation, you have the high of the alcohol drug high, the drug itself, you know, any kind of drug you can think of, the sexual high of an orgasm, the all these things. You have the high, but once that high is over, you hit the low again, right? You're not being validated every second of every minute of every day. You're not high of every second of every minute of every day, right? So you have the high, and then you hit the low, and then you start working towards getting to that high again, right? We work out excessively to get the high of feeling the endorphins, or feeling like we're physically at our top physical condition. But then we have to go to sleep, and we have to eat, which means we have calories, and we have to go to work, so we're not working out, we're not working on our body, right? And so we have that low until we can get back to the gym, right? This is true in everything. Why do we move to these extremes? Why can't we find a balance, right? Why is there no balance, or very little balance? That is our journey. That's what we do. We walk into these circumstances, search our souls for the why, answer the questions needed to bring about awareness to start the process of healing. This is what makes us unique and powerful. We always find our way out of the darkness. Not everyone does it alone. We go in to help others awaken. We set up signposts, messages. We create synchronicities to help. But ultimately, the journey back to the heart, like birth, is a solo trip. So the Titans, these profound light workers, these 7 pillars, we always walk into the darkness and find our way back to the heart. We were the first, and so I feel this energy, this 7 pillar, this pillar of energy, and I feel the conflict. I feel those battles in the beginning of these immortal energies, I guess, if you will, because it was a constant battle finding their way back to the heart over, like I said, a millisecond, a million years, a billion years, I don't know how long, because time doesn't truly exist. But they weren't living and dying. They were fighting with each other, fighting with themselves, until they could find their way back to that source energy. And that created the root of our journey of path and purpose. Their path and purpose was to find that initial route back to the heart, back to their own inner divinity. Okay? And there were these 7 pillars, and each one found their own route back to the heart. Okay? And set that foundation. And so we continue to journey through this universe, through these lifetimes, and we always find our way back to our hearts, and we always go back. We don't leave anyone behind. We always go back. And you can consider these, based on what I wrote here, guides, right? We set up signposts, messages, we create synchronicities, synchronicities to help you, to help us, to help each other. But the journey ultimately back to the heart, like birth, is a solo trip. And so each time we come into these incarnations, we are tasked with finding our way back to our hearts. And we are doing that for every life that we touch, every soul that we touch, and we also do that for each other. Okay? We all have this root energy within us, but we need to tap into our own inner divinity to access the information to help us on our journey. And that is part of our obligation of releasing, centering our energy, finding balance, and then driving forward. We must be at a balanced state before we can access this information. Okay? This is part of the locks, the keys, the codes that we need to seek and find to access this information. Okay? Excuse me. My hair is still tickling my lashes and my skin. Okay. Excuse me. 5/12, May 12th. Although we are moving into a broader, more galactic consciousness, the future of humanity lies in the water. And I get this often. And they talk about, okay, so we have the secret space program stuff, and then we have Space Force stuff. Everybody's looking to the sky. And actually, there's a movie on Netflix. I can't remember. I think it's called Don't Look Up. I can't remember. But anyway, everybody's looking up, and they're not looking down. The future of humanity and this world is in the water. It's in the ocean. We know more about space than we know about our own planet. The future is in the water. And I think that's part of the reason why my day job is working in a commercial dive school. It's occupational diving. Because the future of this world and humanity lies in the water. And we will, in the future, at some point, have a very profound relationship with Gladiola and her people. But it's her job, their job, to protect the water and everything in it. And actually, I didn't write it down. I got a very strong message that she and her people are very active in the water right now. Very, very active, where they would, well, there was a point where they were needing to stay in the background, not really make themselves known. Now they are moving much more to the forefront and being more proactive with advocating for sea life, because we had to go through a process of dealing with our demons, dealing with our negativity that we've created on this world. And so that was all indigenous people on this world, and energies on this world. And so they had to allow us to go through this process, but they're moving more towards the forefront and intervening. That's the feeling that came in, that they're intervening. Okay, so next, I was watching a movie, a very violent movie, Wrath of Man, with Jason Statham. I wasn't moved into darkness, so there is a lot of darkness in this movie, but I wasn't moved to that place. So a lot of times, movies are meant to like invoke emotions, right? Anger, bitterness, sadness, betrayal, whatever it is, right? It's meant to do that to us. But I didn't move into that place of anger, hate. Oh, kill that person, harm that person, do this, do that, where you're hoping someone is gonna get revenge or get taken out because they did a bad thing to one of the characters that you like, right? So I didn't relate to the revenge aspect of the movie. I felt the pain from both sides so there's obviously two sides working against each other. I felt the pain from both sides, the loss on one side, so someone had a great loss in the movie, the betrayal on both sides. So the one side, I don't want to ruin the movie because it's actually a really good movie if you want to see it, but one person has a very huge loss. Then there's another group of people who have feel betrayed and feel left out, like they've been hung out to dry, and so they feel like they have to fight for themselves because nobody is supporting them. But these two factions end up battling each other, and so there's a lot of violence, okay, just suffices to say, and betrayal on both sides. One message was compassion for all and the solidification of truth. Violence begets violence, love begets love. So I'm watching this movie, clearly the message, this truth of violence begets violence, love begets love. Okay, there really isn't love in this movie, but clearly it's completely so violent that you're not going to see any love in this movie because there's just retribution happening back and forth, violence begetting violence. Okay, I've said in a number of past videos, I exist between the spaces. I fill in the gaps. I exist in the space between spaces. I stand in between. My whole life from childhood on, I have stood between the darkness and the thing that needed to be protected. I stand between the darkness and light. I am the barrier. The barriers, the fields I have created cannot be crossed. I have a purpose that I will fulfill. We all have a purpose. This is mine. And so when I watched that movie and I saw all the violence, it just showed me violence begets violence, right? And so we cannot come from this place of violence, no matter how people feel justified in their actions of violence. There will no longer be violence. Our response to violence will not be violence. That is not where this world will be coming from anymore. Okay? I do not judge, I merely sit in the middle and protect that which I am dutied with protecting. I have existed in both light and darkness. I discussed this in my last video. Some might find this off-putting or frightening, but I do as I am asked for the greater good. My experience, my wisdom is not used to harm others, to oppress, manipulate, usurp, or use as any kind of disservice. I have been asked to weather the storm of darkness in order to understand it, so I can act as a centrifuge. We must break this energy down to its essential components to begin the healing. We do not harm, we embrace, understand, show compassion, and begin the process of healing. In order to do this, we must understand we are obedient to God, divinity, the source of creation. In order to do what we need to do, we must understand. We must understand everything. We must understand all components. And we are always obedient to God. We are always obedient to the source. We are always obedient to the creator of all things. That is us. Okay? When you get to a point of reconciling with the source of all creation, you understand it is not only your duty to humanity, to the energy around you, but to yourself, because all those things are part of you. All those things are you, because I am everything, everywhere, and nowhere. I permeate all things, unified always, never apart. We are everything, everywhere, and nowhere. We permeate all things, unified always, never apart. I am confident in my path and purpose. I sit in the flow and embrace balance. We are spiritual warriors. We have many faces, many purposes, but are all obedient to the source of creation. We are a unifying force, creating a unifying field. We are everything, everywhere, and nowhere. We permeate all things, unified always, never apart. And the irony of being called a spiritual warrior is that we do not fight wars. We do not fight wars. To say I am a barrier is a little misleading. I am the gray between the white and black. I blend and transmute. I shift and transmute gray into white, gray into black. I will not block or redirect the negativity. I transmute energy. The fields that are in place will not stop the flow of energy, for we exist with the flow of divine source energy. The fields are sources of transmutation, existing within the flow, catalysts of change. I exist between the spaces, and I fill in the gaps. One must master the darkness, unbalanced energy, in order to master the emotional body. To know the darkness is nothing to be ashamed of. It is a necessary component of finding your way to balance, but it is all of our obligations to find our way to balance. To embrace the darkness is to resist the flow of energy, meaning we must experience the darkness and find our way back to the heart. We cannot sit in the darkness, wallow in the darkness, and embrace the darkness. Okay? If we sit and hold on to that darkness, hold on to separation, hold on to oppression, control, fear, resentment, all those negative or unbalanced energies, then we are working against the flow of energy. Okay? When we sit in the flow of energy, we sit from a balanced place. We sit from a place of unconditional love, because that's the homeostatic state of the source of all creation. And as I've said in the past, if the source of all creation did not create duality, did not create the abundance, the beauty of love in its most extreme state, the most fulfilling part of love, and then also experience the darkest part, the opposite, the hate, it could never define itself as unconditional love. So it is this experience in this universe that is shown the source of all creation, the creator of all things, that its true existence at pure consciousness, at the I am state, that resting state of I am, is unconditional love. Okay? Only the unbalanced energy previously in play, that energy which is petering out, remains in the field of Mother Earth. Any attempt to manifest negativity or unbalanced energy on this world creates karmic debt for those responsible for not only the unbalanced or negative energy, but the intent behind such actions. This karmic debt will be paid in Cepheus. The gray, the in-between, neutralizes, transmutes any negative or unbalanced energy that these individuals or energies are attempting to manifest. This is not only the primary or secondary cabal agents. There are many on and in the earth who have chosen unbalanced energy in an attempt to hold on to old ways, to resist the flow of energy. This resistance indicates the need to repeat this cycle in the 3D on a world in the Cepheus constellation. This is an act of compassion, a fresh start, a new opportunity to find your way to your heart, to your divine state of unity. It is your opportunity to find your way home. You are never alone. We are never separate. We are always with you, together, supporting you. We hold the light for you, for there can be no darkness in the light. We always come back. We always come back to we'll call it the lower levels of consciousness, the 3D levels of consciousness, because there always needs to be energies on those worlds to help direct or help awaken or help remind people, remind these energies of their divine source energy. Okay, we are present physically on those planes of existence, and we're also present energetically and from higher levels of consciousness, which we might call angels or guides, but we're always there. There can be no darkness in the light, so we hold the light. When the energy of the 7 pillars or 7 titans comes through, there is a bit of sadness. So I was sitting and this energy started coming through. The feeling was to create a universe where no one would have to experience the depth of darkness that occurred in the beginning. So that was our intention in the beginning, is to create a universe after we went through what we went through in the beginning. The intention was to create a universe where nobody else would have to go through that, where we could have this experience of duality without going to those extremes, okay? This is where the ideas of utopia or Shangri-La were created and implanted. So we created, after we've existed from a place of balance and knew what this universe could be, that's when we started to implant these ideas, or through our consciousness, as possible realities in this universe. Shangri-La, utopian, these what we would call quote unquote perfect societies, right? The opportunity for free will allowed both. So the opportunity for free will allowed us to create either a Shangri-La or something less positive. So the opportunity for free will allowed both balanced and the opportunity for free will allowed both balanced and unbalanced energy to flourish. The depth and breadth of emotion provided an opportunity that no other world was provided. It is on earth that divinity, the source of all creation, discovered not only the depth and breadth of balanced and unbalanced energy, but also its potential for harm and healing. So through many worlds, this push and pull of duality played out. But it was here on Earth, which is the first world, that the beings were provided the depth and breadth of emotion, that the source, divinity, came to know the potential for harm and good. Okay? The full potential, because it is the depth and breadth of emotion. It is love that is the root or catalyst for creation, right? So the absolute love creates, okay? But absolute love can create beautiful things, but absolute darkness can create very dark things. And it was on this world that this source of creation, providing and allowing us the depth and breadth of emotion, experienced the absolute best and worst that can be created in this universe. What is important to know is that all 7 pillars found their way back to their hearts, and all 7 pillars, the foundations for this universe, are present on this world. All of existence is rooted in these 7 pillars, but only those existing at a specific vibration are able to access the wisdom of these creative forces. So when I talk about the depth and breadth of negativity and positivity, I don't want people to feel like, oh my God, this negativity can take over and this universe is going to become a very dark place. That's not the case, because we were allowed the depth and breadth of emotion at a 3D level. So there is a limit to what we can do, what we can create, and the extent of harm that we can inflict. Okay? This lower level consciousness, and so I'm just going to use the Zeta Reticuli for an example, or the Alpha Draco living from separation. They cannot transcend to higher levels of consciousness to create greater harm in the universe. And they cannot usurp or overtake the universe from this lower level of consciousness. Okay? The 7 pillars, we exist. We exist here in this 3D, but we are not allowed higher levels of consciousness and the knowledge and wisdom of the 7 pillars until we reach a certain level of awareness. Okay, we reach a certain vibration, and once we reach that vibration, then we start to access more information. okay? And then we start working with the fields, like I said. I do not project negativity. I work as a buffer. I don't, when any negativity comes to me, I don't deflect it off of me. I receive it, I embody it, and I transmute that energy into balanced energy, okay? I'm not deflecting it to someplace else. I am transmuting it. I am changing it. It's so important to understand. And when someone projects negativity towards me or towards any of the pillars, the energies that are aware that they are a pillar of creation, they do the same. But that energy, that intention, is manifesting on that world in Cepheus, okay? So that negative energy that's being projected at me or projected on this world is not manifesting more negativity on this world, okay? That's done. There was a point, a place during, you know, the last 3 years where there was, and maybe 20, 30, 100 years back, where there's a lot of negativity being projected. There's a lot of manipulation, control happening, affecting the consciousness of humanity, which was creating this snowball effect of negativity, and that all came to a head during the last 3 years, okay? And we're at a place where that all that negativity, that flow that they had tried to create and create a force so that they can maintain control of this world, that is petering out. That is dissipating. It is going away, okay? They're not manifesting more negativity on this world, okay? We are here. These pillars of energy are here to receive that negativity and transmute it, neutralize it, and create balanced energy, okay? They're not taking this world. Doesn't matter all the negativity that they're trying to project on this world right now. They will not take this world. And so again, I have that design. I guess I'll show this again. I drew this. I've shown this before. I drew it again because I didn't want to go back in my old journal and find it. But the weaving, I see the pillars. We're weaving through space and time, through realities, and we're just mending. That's what we do. We're mending. Okay? The pillars are the glue that hold the spaces together. They hold the pieces together. This is the best way to describe it from this level of consciousness, because there are truly no pieces or spaces. But any attempt to fragment, separate, to maintain that separation, is our exercises in futility, because we are here to fill in the gaps. We are the glue between the spaces, holding everything together. 513, May 13th, 2023, early AM. This energy of the 7 pillars is an energy of absolute balance. This energy is a buffer between spaces. It does not allow the unbalanced energy to bleed out of its contained space, because we are unified always, never apart. We are invisible and necessary. The unbalanced energy believes power lies in control, information, manipulation, oppression. That is incorrect. Faith, trust, love are what create the flow within the divine consciousness. As stated in previous videos, Earth is unique. Earth is budding into its next level of consciousness. Earth has a unique path and purpose. Earth humans are the first to experience the depth and breadth of emotion, and thus we are the first to transcend from this place. This is a very profound place to sit. There is a very specific vibration that one must exist at in order to remain on Earth. That vibration aligns you with the 7 pillars. You must vibrate at a level that gains you access to the divine wisdom of the 7 pillars in order to remain on Earth. The reason being, Earth is the glue for all worlds. We must be the buffer between light and darkness, balanced and unbalanced energy throughout the universe. We will access the keys and codes, affect the fields, and create the change this universe needs to transcend and unify. In order to align with the 7 pillars, you must access your shadow side. You must know the darkness. You must see the darkness in others and show compassion, understanding, and unconditional love. You must be able to embrace it. It is only in embracing it that you can transmute it. To fear the darkness is counterproductive. Fear is an unbalanced energy. It is a construct, and it goes against the flow of energy. It is only when we embrace our own fears, insecurities, our own darkness, that we can see those qualities in others. Once we can see those qualities in others, it is then that we can see ourselves in others and others in us. This is also true of our positive, balanced attributes. It is these epiphanies, acknowledgments, that draw us towards a balanced, energetic state. It has been a slow, gradual process that has brought us to this place. It is a gradual process to reunification. There were steps, stages to separation. There will be steps or stages to reunification. We come back. We always come back for our brothers and sisters. But you must be ready and willing to take the journey. So I just want to say I watched The Passion of Christ with Jim Caviezel, and I've never seen it before, which I was kind of surprised, but it took me 6 sittings to watch it because it was very emotional, and I could feel this, I could connect with that experience of Jesus Christ. Outside of the fact that it was a very good movie and he did a great job. But it was almost overwhelming for me. But it reiterated, it didn't reiterate, I was a little disgusted kind of by how I think it's the Sanhedrin, the Jewish, I think it's high council, how they treated Jesus, okay? It was very dark. That being said, the Catholics during the Crusades, that was very dark. The Romans across Europe, World War II, what happened in the concentration camps. There are so many other things in other countries, because we didn't learn about what happened in Asia in history, right, when I was growing up. But across the planet, there have been some hideous things that have happened in Africa, in Asia, to the Native Americans, just Middle East, I'm sure, everywhere. And the feeling that kept coming through was time of accountability, a time of judgment. And I always like hope and connect and hope like this is when everything's going to start becoming better for everybody. Everything's going to change, and it's all this negativity is going to fall away. But as I was watching that movie, and as I'm kind of astral traveling through all these, the history of humanity and Earth, and seeing the profound darkness and harm that has been done to people who are trying to do good, people who are just trying to live their lives. There will be something coming, and it's going to be very challenging. And as we work towards connecting with our heart, connecting to the source, understanding our inner divinity, raising our vibration, we will see this experience from a higher perspective, and we will I don't know how to say this without, we will be removed from the experience, this profound darkness that will be coming at some point, because this is part of the purging and the culling that I talked about in the last video. And so it's always hard to say because I try to stay positive, but it's not part of my path of purpose to always be talking about I have to tell the messages. I just have to share the messages as they come. And this was one that was very heavy all week. That came in very strong. That, because I keep, like I said, I keep on waiting. This is the upswing. This is when everything's going to start moving into a positive place. And I do feel that's true. But also at the same time as this, there's this uptick and this rising of vibration for people who have done the work, for people who are transcending, for people who have chosen to hold on to old ways and resist the flow of energy. There is a time of judgment. There is a time of, there is a culling, a culling that will be occurring. And so as much as I would rather not say that, it just came in so strong that I have to say it to make people aware of it. This negative energy, this unbalanced energy always has to speak and tell the truth about what it's doing. They normally do it in very subtle ways, in dark corners. They don't do it on the nightly news, okay? But I've seen it. And I'm just so amazed that that Nancy Pelosi one time said something that shocked me, and I couldn't believe she actually said it, and it was on like C-SPAN or something like that. But not very many people watch C-SPAN. But I was absolutely flabbergasted. It was so long ago, I don't remember what it was. But just as this negative energy must reveal itself, the divine sends messages to let us know what is coming so we can prepare. And we prepare through having faith, trust in the source of all creation, by sharing unconditional love, compassion, kindness to the people around us, to the world around us, regardless of what they're doing, regardless of how they're speaking. We are patient. And we are compassionate. And trust me, this has been very difficult for me in the past, and I've had to work very diligently on maintaining my center. And little by little, I've gotten better. So we're not meant to be perfect, but we're meant to be working towards that. having that intention and centering ourselves when we fall out of center, when we move into darkness, working on consciously moving ourselves back into center, not allowing us to go to extreme. Excuse me. Not allowing ourselves to go to extremes, okay? Give me a second. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.